All right, welcome back to Risque Business News. I'm your host, Mae.
I'm Laura, and we have a guest today.
I'm Isa Medina. What's up?
What's up? We have a hot one for you guys. Enjoy.
Where's the money? I don't understand how you make money.
Hold
from
on.
that, though.
2 stand-up comics in New York City.
Just learned a lot of this stuff. I'm gonna ask all the stupid questions that you might be thinking at home, but are afraid to ask people.
Making it to where you feel like you're too stupid to be able to ever engage in it, they win.
Why the fuck are they doing this?
It's to make money. It's Risque Business News.
Well, first of all, tell the viewers about, I've discovered you organically, actually, because I love cult stuff. I love everything cults. And so I literally just typed in Spotify cults. And then I saw your little logo, and it's a big open mouth. And I was like, I love this logo. I'm going to check it out. And so her podcast, for everyone listening, is called
Sounds Like a Cult. And it is co-hosted by myself and my friend Amanda Montel. And it is about cults, but it's about the modern day cults we all follow. So it's called, did I already say that? It's called Sounds Like a Cult.
Yes.
And every episode is about a different cult. Like our pilot episode is about like the cult of Soul Cycle, or we have like the cult of the royal family, the cult of sororities and fraternities, the cult of the Bachelor. And so every week we analyze a different group or guru, and we see whether it is a different level of cult, and we categorize it as like a level of like a live your life level cult, watch your back level cult, or get the fuck out level cult, which means like red flag, red flag.
I love it. I've actually worked at a few places that I would classify as a get the fuck out kind of cult.
Yeah.
I would argue most of corporate America is a get the fuck out type
And
of cult.
nonprofits too.
Yes.
We actually did a whole episode on how they're all corrupt and they're basically all full of shit. Like
Mostly scams.
99.9% of them are scams, which
Yeah.
is
Also-
really disheartening.
Also, animal rescue places.
Yes. Dude,
Yeah.
I'm like, why are your rescues having babies? Like, put them on birth control.
Have you done an episode on that before?
No,
an
that's a
IUD.
great idea.
Yeah, we
Because
actually-
I'm like,
there
you
you
guys
go.
are popping people out. Because some actually
People.
was looking, I mean, dogs, yeah.
Yeah.
I was looking at this post of this like really cute puppy that's up for adoption, and the post had like 26,000 likes, and they're like,
Whoa.
apply
Right.
to adopt this pupper, and I'm like, why are you applying?
Yeah.
Like, so
Right.
shouldn't you just give it out to like whoever is willing?
The reason we found out about this more, like I kind of vaguely knew, was we did an episode with one of May's friends who used to work at an animal rescue with George Santos.
Oh,
Yeah, George
Yes.
Santos was calling her and like lying about having all these puppies. It's the craziest fucking story.
And
in the
he was doing GoFundMes and like basically keeping the money is what I have decided is what is happening.
Right.
It is probably what's happening. Don't sue
allegedly,
me, George.
allegedly.
Or
Allegedly.
do actually. It'd be great for the pod. Do
Yeah.
sue me.
And because the thing about getting sued is like, if no one serves you, it's like you can kind of just ignore it. Like,
Yeah.
people forget.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Is that wait? I'm agreeing. Like I know that that's a thing. Wait, is that how suing works?
I don't know for a fact, but like I've come across a couple little trouble myself, and I'm just like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. If I
It's
ever
kind
get
of like
sued,
jury duty. I'm like, I didn't
Yeah,
see
yeah.
it. Whatever.
if I ever get sued, I will ignore it now. And I'll be like, well, Isa said.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Also, medical bills.
Those don't.
You don't
those
know
aren't
me.
real.
Yeah.
Those are a
yeah.
cult.
This
Miss
podcast
me with
is like,
that
this
shit.
is all comedy. If like
Yeah.
someone looks back at this and is like, Isa?
Oh, yeah. Just
but
for the
yes.
record, yeah, this is a very different type of podcast. We mostly spread misinformation.
Yes, exactly.
Mostly,
I love that.
yeah.
No, I know.
But we reference like usually Business Insider, who's
Yeah.
also doing that with us.
Yeah.
For sure.
And yeah, I would say that like most businesses are cults.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's why I thought you guys might be asking yourselves, May, this is a business podcast. This is about risque businesses.
Yes.
And why do you have someone from a cult podcast on?
And a very funny comedian.
Very
as well.
funny
Stand-up
comedian as
comedian.
well. Stand-up
Follow her
comedian.
stuff.
Also,
Yeah.
she's famously running the Brooklyn half or
yeah,
the New York City half.
Yeah, everybody knows. And a friend of mine was like, "You tricked everyone. Like you made it seem like it was the full marathon." I was like, "I always said half. If
Yeah.
You have said half.
I've always said half. If you are perceiving it as a full, like that's on you."
Right.
Also, the New York City Marathon, a cult. Marathons as a whole, a cult.
We have an episode on that. The
There you
cult
go.
of
Really?
Marathon
Yeah.
runners.
Oh
yeah.
my God, I'm right.
But yeah, I would say that all businesses are cults, and that's what I'm here to talk about with you guys.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the reason that this has come into LOL businesses.
Yeah.
The reason that this has come into like conversation is because like our generation is having this like awakening that like your work doesn't have to be your life passion.
Yeah.
And it's like you can either pursue a passion, which is fine, and do the whole like work full 100% time, or you can like clock the fuck out.
Totally.
I think we've also seen our parents get burned so hard by their companies where they were like 30 years in and then they get laid off or something right before they're going to get their whatever pension or something along those lines.
Totally.
Like we've seen them pull such bullshit in the corporate world so many times that now it's like, I don't know, may as well do DoorDash and like do comedy or something like that and like
What's
go
that-
for it on that side.
There's that Jim Carrey quote that's like stuck with me my entire life. You guys have probably heard it before, where he's like, you might as well go for what you want because you might fail at what you don't want.
Yeah.
And he was talking about
Ooh, that's haunting.
he was
Yeah.
talking about his father, where he was like, you might fail at playing it safe because his dad got laid off, and like famously they were like living in a car in Canada
Yeah.
for a little while or something crazy like that. And so he's like, that inspired me to be like, fuck it.
Yeah,
You
that's
know?
so true. And also, I feel like the new version of like waiting for that like pension fund is like people who work in tech and they're waiting for their like
Stocks to vest.
stocks to vest, which I like don't know about things because I like never worked in that stuff. But I did work at my version of like corporate culture is like I worked as an assistant at a production company.
Okay.
Oh,
And that
boy.
was so culty because it was that same thing where like you work your ass off because you're promised a promotion.
Right.
And then you never, I do feel like it's even more culty because there aren't any other people to like replicate. You know how
Right.
like at least in a corporation, it's like there is a timeline and there are departments with like HR or people like that you can like check in.
Yeah.
Mhm.
At a small production company as an assistant, you are HR.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
doing
You don't
everything.
even have the like security blanket of the organized like culture around, you know, what a normal corporation, a Fortune 500 might offer you.
I feel like we're all
Exactly.
picking
I
the
know,
cat
I'm
hairs
so
off.
I have a cat.
I like was picking off the cat hairs and I just saw you do it. I was like, okay, we're all doing this.
Meanwhile, I'm the only one.
until now.
That's Password. He leaves his calling cards everywhere.
His name is Password.
His name is Password.
That's
Your,
so cute.
your pet's
Yeah.
name.
So is your password cat?
You immediately got it. There you go.
Yeah,
Some people are like, what?
No, I did not get that until you explained it to me. I was like a year in. I was like, okay, this bitch fucking named her cat.
Password. Yeah. It's a
My
joke.
cat's name is Greg.
Greg is great too.
Yeah, so I mean, I would imagine that would be just like constant being berated. That's what I assume an assistant is.
Yeah, it really is. I actually like started to make because I was working in documentary film and I started to make a documentary about Hollywood assistants.
Oh my god, that'd be so fun.
Yeah,
I
because
would
there's
love
like I
that.
interviewed like a bunch of people. Those interviews are sitting somewhere, and people like gave me their soul.
I bet they were like, finally, someone who's my therapist doesn't have to be the
Yeah.
only one listening to me now.
Yeah, it was like low key, and I feel like it kind of got pushed down. There were little movements happening before the pandemic, but then the pandemic happened
Right.
and it kind of got put on the back burner. But it was kind of like the next Me Too movement of Hollywood type thing because
Right.
assistants truly do get like abused.
They do.
And like I was getting paid $750 a week for a full-time job, no health care.
Oh my god.
And I'm sure you were putting in more than 40 hours. 'cause
100%. Like, and the thing is, I do agree with most bosses who are like, this is not rocket science. You're right. It's not.
It doesn't have to be.
Exactly.
We're not
Right.
only giving healthcare to rocket scientists.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Like, that's not actually what we're talking about. We're talking about, are you doing a job full time?
Exactly. And
Are
it's
you an
also
employee?
like
Right.
emotional labor because your job is to like be invisible while like being able to like read your boss's mind.
Yeah.
And also, like, if they're hiring someone to do something they don't want to do, that's the end of the story in terms of
Yes.
them being an employee. You don't get to gauge from there if it's too easy for them to get these rights that are legally required.
Exactly.
The law has answered that
Exactly.
question.
Yeah.
So if you think it's too easy of a job to exist, then you do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the rules. Like,
Yeah.
Exactly. The crazy thing is they like I feel like I shouldn't talk shit about them, but like
that's fine. We can
It's
always take out
anonymous.
anything you
Yeah.
don't need
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
pretty much just like it is this thing where like there's such a high turnover with
Right.
Hollywood assistants because once the assistant starts asking for more or once
Yeah.
the assistant
Yeah.
realizes that they're not going to get promoted, they kind of emotionally check out. And they also want to be creatives. They also want to like be a director or a writer.
Yeah.
And so once the boss realizes that they're like a human, they just like dispose of them
Right.
because they don't want to be like liable for their feelings. or
It's
Yeah.
super predatory.
It kind of reminds me of relationships with SDRs though. So we both work in sales, and when my SDR is like, I want to be in your position, I'm like, okay, yeah, but like you need to get me these meetings.
Wait, what's an SDR?
Sales development
It's
representative.
sales development. So basically, like when you're an AE or whatever you want to call it at your company,
Account executive.
underneath you is usually girls or guys right out of college that will just send you meetings.
They're
and
cold
so
calling.
you don't have to do all the cold calling and like terrible monotonous stuff that they have to do with like just emailing people cold. And the idea of that role is so that they learn sales skills and then they can move into an AE position and then have like it's sort of that's the trajectory. And I've had this girl who was so good at being my SDR. Like I was like hitting my numbers because of her. And she's like, yeah, I think I'm ready to be promoted. I was like, oh God.
No, you're.
I was like, oh, and I was like,
You
yeah,
still have a lot to learn, girl.
she is promoted. I'm not a monster. But I thought
Good.
about it. I was like, dang.
Well, it's so easy to be like, I'm busy.
yeah.
But it is important to like help other people. Hashtag women helping women.
Yes.
I work
But
with men, so I don't do that.
we
but-
just recorded. Good. Don't help them. They do not need help.
Yeah, they're
But
fine.
we
They're
just did
good
an
at-
episode on the cult of corporate culture, and we were talking about how sales specifically is so culty.
Oh my
'cause it's kind
God.
of like
my God, the amount of sports quotes in
Dude.
every fucking meeting.
the
Yes.
gong
I don't think
bashing or whatever the
Yes.
fuck.
wait, you guys
They-
bash a gong?
No, not at my company, but in former companies, yes.
Absolutely. And like
Yes.
when I used to work in office for like 1 second, they would do a gong every time there was a sale.
That
What is
is
what's-
wild. Also, do you have to? This is something that I was talking about with the person we interviewed, but do you have to like buy in when you do sales, or is that
do you
like an
mean?
older like there are some
No.
people who work in like medical sales, for example, but they kind of have to like
Oh.
buy in,
Like
Not
be
in
like
our
like
sales
super
anyway.
like Will Smith in that movie.
She's thinking of like essentially an MLM where you have to buy the thing that you're selling. No.
I'm like Will Smith in that movie.
I have
Pursuit
a lot
of
of
Happiness?
lot of
What a film.
cybersecurity software that I personally own. I'm
Yeah.
trying to get it off my own shelf.
Okay, so you don't have to buy it.
No,
No,
no, no,
no,
no,
no.
Okay, good.
For like direct to
Because that is
consumer.
MLM.
That's an MLM. Yeah.
For direct to consumer companies, or I guess medical for Will Smith or whatever, which is not quite. Then sometimes they'll make them do that, and that is definitely an MLM.
That's crazy. I didn't
yeah.
know that. Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
Could you imagine if I was just like, yeah, I sell Avon.
Yeah.
LuLaRoe, that's my company.
and for the rest of the podcast, you just have to be like,
Okay, well, I wanted to talk about a few things. So we already touched on this. Companies very similar to cults. I think we said this probably at the beginning of this podcast. When we first started, we were like, a lot of places we worked for have been super culty.
Yeah.
There's a few similarities that jump out to me. Like the leader is sort of worshipped.
Yeah.
The CEO is worshipped. They have these all hands meetings where everyone sits there and listens to them lie about the health of the company.
oh my
Yeah.
god,
And
it's-
everyone's nodding, going, yeah. And
in
it's
Slack,
fucking
like
weird.
great job engineering.
Right.
Yeah, we were talking about this the other day with my co-host, but the language that a lot of companies use, like
Yes.
circle black, sorry,
Circle back.
like circle back. That's like the only one I know. What are the other things?
Touch base.
Yeah.
Base follow up. It's a lot of sports terms.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like it's not terminology that like you would use with real people. Like you're
Right.
not going to go to your significant other and be like, "Hey, can we circle back on those dishes?"
It is
You
fun
know?
to
That's actually
occasionally
really funny.
occasionally do that, and Matt gets all freaked out. He's like, "Whoa, I'm in trouble."
Yeah, but the leader thing is so real. I mean, I don't know about your company, but something that a lot of cult leaders do is they make it feel like they have a really interpersonal relationship with like
Correct.
every person.
Yes.
And they make
Absolutely.
you feel so special and like you are so valuable. And so a lot of CEOs have that relationship with everyone, but on the next day they can turn around and like
Fuck
Fire
them.
you.
yeah.
I would
Correct.
argue that actually CEOs are probably like cult leaders on steroids because they're doing it, first of all, within the parameters of the law. And then second of all, they're like, think of like the WeWork CEO, how he was
Yeah.
able to get people to dedicate their whole lives. And then they make the culture of the company like their friends all are at the same company.
Yes.
They
Yes.
eat all their meals at that company. Sometimes
The
they have
retreats.
campuses. The retreats. Google, Facebook, all those groups, they have campuses that those people like borderline live on. They
So-
can
Yeah.
sleep there.
I worked at LinkedIn for a short period of time. It was hell. Like for other people, it was amazing. Other people are like, I'm never leaving this company. It was great,
Yeah.
whatever.
For some
And
personalities, it's
yeah,
a great
for some
fit.
personalities,
Not
it's
for
amazing.
you.
Not for me. I felt so sad. I have never been more depressed in my life because you go into this office and like you eat breakfast there, and then you eat breakfast there, you eat lunch there, sometimes you eat dinner there, and you're just like sitting there selling the most boring fucking software you've ever heard in your life. And then they have like a pizza party with like, and everyone's drinking, and like everyone's like drinking every fucking day at 5. And I'm like, I wonder why we need a drink every day at 5, because our lives suck, and we're fucking, this is like so draining.
Because you're trying to like create this passion and enthusiasm for like this life-changing kind of technology. And don't get me wrong, LinkedIn is a really powerful tool.
So powerful.
It's made so powerful.
It's not that great, honestly.
Yeah. But point is, the CEOs, their whole job is to get people like not like you, because it obviously didn't work, but the people who are really smart to dedicate all of their energy towards pushing the creation and promotion of this random company, because they make a fuckload of money. And this is the thing, is that they're making the fuckload of money.
Right.
Yeah.
Some other people will. Most of them won't.
And I feel like they do that like it's so strategic for them to get people right out of college in that position.
Right. Why?
Because right out of college, you're still a kid, like a adult kid, and you need meals, and you need like you just came from like a dorm and dining hall situation, and you want something that replicates that. And then what the company does is they like structure your whole life, so or even your leisurely time, like you were saying, at 5 p.m. you have a drink. You feel like it's leisure and you feel like it's a break, but it's really the company like controlling.
And that's the thing, is because if they've gotten enough of your personality and your interpersonal life involved in the company, you're not leaving.
Yeah.
Right.
How?
Right.
Where are you going to go?
Exit costs, friendship.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, also, so I worked for a company that I famously talk shit about on this podcast constantly, and I haven't said
You've never said their name, but it's always like, look at my LinkedIn.
Yeah, I'm like, you can see my LinkedIn, which one I'm talking about. Okay, so there is this company, not the one I'm working for right now, the one prior, listeners. So
she's never said the name, lawyers.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm gonna work this camera.
But they did all of these things on steroids. Like the CEO, you couldn't say anything bad about him, and like he's a fucking master manipulator, like crazy guy. And then all the like every single person, like there was people hooking up, there was like you would go to like lunches and people would be having drinks, and people were just like medicated because like the job sucked so hard. Everyone was fucking medicated, like because the thing that we were selling was fraudulent, and we were essentially the Grim Reaper for small businesses. It was
Did you work for
insane.
Elizabeth?
I wish that would be
badass.
That would be cool.
That would be great. But what was the fucking point that I had to say? Oh, they would do a lot of like, we're all family here, like specifically.
As soon as they start spewing the family,
yeah, the
bullshit.
family. I was like, no, the fuck, we're not.
Yeah, the
and
second
then
I say family, that's a red flag.
and I got like super tight with people, and then I got laid off probably because I was talking mad shit. I was like leading the descent.
You were like doing a podcast on talking shit.
Truly
filming it at the LinkedIn office. They're like, you gotta go.
But I got laid off, and like as soon as I was laid off, people that I thought I was super close to, like they're just part of this cult. And like and it was like I think they were like discouraged. Like he would after a chunk of us got laid off, they all like had an all hands meeting and was like, you know, we don't need people talking to people that exited. Like this is like a family here. Like said like language like that.
Excommunicated.
I was excommunicated from my cult.
It is true that it is so much easier, and we talk about this like on my podcast all the time, that it's so much easier to say yes, and that's why so many people are susceptible to falling into cults in this society is because we are plagued with choices and decisions constantly. It's like you go to the grocery store and you have to make like a decision on like a freaking yogurt. And so it's like when you do go to a job, you're like, maybe it is easier to be a yes man.
It definitely is. It's so much easier not to give a shit and just say whatever.
Yeah.
And they make it very easy in the sense of like you're maybe drunk, like or hungover all the time. You're around your friends. You're having a good time. And they do a good job. Like some of the trips that they go on and stuff like that.
And if they pay you well.
If they pay you well, it's very easy to just kind of, you know, yes and that. And like, to be honest, a lot of the times they do achieve like pretty cool things. Like some of the companies, like Google, for instance, that's a badass search engine. Used to be a badass search engine.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
is.
it's getting worse. Have you noticed this?
No.
Yeah.
Google results
What are you, a
like,
Bing girl?
Maybe. So.
I have a bunch of friends who work for Bing.
Really?
It
and
is
they're
actually
working on
the
thingy
GPT
Yeah, they
thing.
literally
Yeah.
like are on, like we went skiing and they were like oh shit, we got to work on the CPT.
Yeah.
I was like,
It's actually like, it's pretty crazy, like the advances that have been coming out, but it's partially because Google's been doing so many of the ads that their results have gotten kind of weird.
Oh, I see.
So
Yeah.
some of it's opened up a potential for some other areas to, chat GPT
Yeah.
and all these groups. But point is, groups like Google, they're obviously making things that I think need to exist out in the world, right?
Yeah.
It's more when there's like morally questionable stuff that starts to come up, like the Elizabeth Holmes example.
Yeah.
Right.
Where then there was people who were like, oh, or like my company where it was all fraudulent. And to be fair, I did quit the second I
Yeah.
found out about there being elite. The CFO going
Yeah.
to jail, I was like, oh,
I get
what?
it.
I gotta go.
Yeah.
What the hell is happening here?
Yeah.
I quit. I obviously quit.
And it does suck that like Elizabeth Holmes is like such a main example of that because she is a woman, and that doesn't mean like
I
we can't be
know.
hard
I
on
know,
her.
but girl, good for her, girl.
Yeah,
You do it
it's like
too.
yes, pop off. But I think we talked about this on our podcast too. Is that like the reason Elizabeth Holmes got shit on so bad is because she went into the health space.
Yeah.
and there's so
Yes.
much more regulation around like
Good.
medicine.
Right. As
As
there
there
damn
should
well
be.
should be. Yeah.
Yeah, and so people in like just finance and just business are literally like corrupt up the wazoo.
Right. And that's what's terrifying is because I understand obviously health needs to have strong regulations around it because it's your physical health. However, banks
They have to have more regulation.
really
Yeah.
impact your day-to-day life.
That was
I'd
Daniel Jones
argue a little bit more than like what vitamin pill you're taking sometimes.
Yeah.
Like the impact on like how much money, or if you have a stable economy, or if you guys can afford to eat, just eat, period.
Yeah, or
It's-
if a company's like, being predatory
Yeah.
to like low income families, that's like just as important.
Well, right now we're dealing with, have you been following the Silicon Valley Bank deal? SVB, there's like...
No, but I did text my friend who works in Silicon Valley. I was like, what is SVB? Because I saw it on Twitter.
So basically...
She's like, I just work in the area. I don't
yeah,
like
I don't know. I live in Silicon Valley.
yeah, I was like, you live in San Francisco?
They're automatic experts. They
That's
kind of
so
are,
funny.
though. I assume
Yeah.
they all know
Yeah.
everything. But basically, this bank just made really shitty investments. They've been able to take the profits from those investments and put it into like the executives and all the people getting bonuses and stuff. And then now when all those investments failed and they didn't have the money to like give to the people who'd put money into their bank, they went bankrupt, and now the federal government had to take over and like give money from taxpayers to the people who had their deposits there. So we're taking on the loss as taxpayers. They say we're
Isn't
not
that
going
what
to take on the
happens
loss.
when we like bail companies out too?
So two banks over the weekend got bailed out by the federal government. It's
Hello?
What's the other one? Silicon Valley. And
Silicon Valley Bank and then Signature Bank. Used to be a
Oh.
fucking prospect account for me. I guess not anymore. I guess we're
God.
not selling a
I
Signature
guess it's
Bank.
true what they say. The economy is not doing well.
You heard it here, allegedly.
Allegedly. Whoever runs it,
Yeah.
allegedly.
yeah, hey,
Where's Joe Biden?
get your shit together, Joe Biden.
Yeah.
or whoever the fuck. I don't
Janet
know.
Yellen in this
But
case.
that is
I am
nuts.
glad she did do the bailout because it would have been genuine chaos. But the
Yeah.
fact that there's no
But can someone
regulation.
like bail me out?
Yeah, fucking
Right.
Whatever happened to that?
Yeah. I got credit card debt. Let's wipe that out. Who
Yeah.
gives a shit?
Yeah.
Biden.
Like college loans, college debt. It's
Yeah.
like bail that out.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
I'm
they
running
might
for
talk
public
about it.
office.
Vote for Isa.
Yeah.
Okay, next one on the list is isolating or canceling employees and penalizing them for leaving. We already sort of covered this, but yeah, that's definitely really fucking culty for sure.
Yeah.
And I can understand, like, obviously when people leave, or specifically when people quit, like they probably had a negative outlook, and so like your boss probably doesn't want them like poisoning you to
Yeah.
quote unquote not drinking the Kool-Aid that you
culture.
should.
Yeah.
So I like get that, but you're like, I feel like them explicitly saying it's really weird.
Yeah. I've only ever worked at like 2 places,
Yeah.
but I've never been at a company where they like explicitly say it.
Right.
That is, I would say, a get the fuck out level red flag for them
For
to
sure.
be like,
It's
do
really
not talk to
common.
Barbara.
Yeah.
Do they say it
It's
straight
really
up?
It's pretty
absolutely.
common, yeah. Because I just think that they don't want people being like, the grass is greener over here. You should come work for my company, which
Well,
is
That's
They definitely
wild.
have non-solicits. So,
Mhm.
and I've seen those enacted quite a bit, where if you go to another company and you try to hire the people at your old company and you're like, it's better over here, you go to court for sure. That's
Mhm.
not allowed, which is
Dude,
kind
I'm
of.
so glad I never worked in corporate. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No.
I was just going to say, like, because I am so susceptible to cult influence, which is, like, why we have this podcast. Because I'm, like, on our podcast, like, I'm the one who's, like, susceptible to everything. And Amanda's the one that, like, pulls me back.
Dude, I'm with you.
And
you
I
should
feel
see
like
my medicine cabinet. I
yeah.
have fucking everything that was ever marketed towards
Literally.
me. I have purchased it. It is in my house.
Literally, like, every like sponsor of our podcast, they send me one product and I'm like, I'm hooked. I'm hooked. I'm
Best thing that's ever happened.
Yeah. And like if I had gotten a corporate job right out of college, I really genuinely feel like I would have stayed there forever.
Yeah.
Because I would have been like, I need to win. I don't know what this is, but I need it.
Well, that brings me
Top
to my
AE.
next point is that expecting dogmatic devotion to the company culture and or business. That would have been you.
That would have been me. Because,
Yeah.
well, I feel like I also don't like being tricked though. So there maybe would have been a point where I'm like, am I winning or am I losing? Because I'm all like sports mentality. I'm like, win.
Right.
I need to win. I need a trophy.
Yeah.
And like, if I wasn't consistently getting promotions, then I'd be like, peace the fuck out.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that's why they do that.
I know. Well, actually, I think there's a rule. There's like a general rule that if you don't get promoted once every 2 years, you should start looking for jobs because it's them like soft firing you.
Yeah.
So
How long am I gonna fuck?
Well, and also, isn't there like, there's like just a title promotion and then an actual like.
yeah, that's like the
Yeah.
at a bank, like at the
you're a
big banks.
senior director instead of a director and nothing changes.
Everyone at like any of the big banks is a vice president. Like if you're not a
Yes.
vice president, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Like truly, and it's purely because of exactly that, where they like have to level them up to the
Right.
point they have no rule, they have no responsibility, they have
Yeah.
no purchasing
And
power.
for consulting or for law firms or
God.
for agencies, I'm like, is there going to be 100 partners? That's the one I never understood.
Yeah.
Partners, like everyone wants to be a partner.
Because I thought a partner meant you literally had a stake in the company, like
I-
Mad
Yeah.
Men style.
I think
Yeah,
it
I thought so.
does. Does it not?
I don't know.
We should look into this. At
Yeah.
some
Three
point.
women
Put it on the
doing
list.
business.
Yeah.
Put it on the list. We are partners.
We're all partners in this podcast.
Yeah.
We're gonna donate to your New York half marathon. I'm a partner in Isa's run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm running the New York City Half Marathon if you haven't heard. We've all heard. I know, I'm sorry. It'll be done by the time this comes out.
It's true.
Yeah, no, we were joking before we started recording, so I've been binging your podcast. It's been great. I've loved every minute of it. But there's this one ad that keeps playing about donating to her run, and I'm like, okay, we get it. You're running. Okay, we get it.
hurry.
Yeah.
Run faster,
So
damn it.
funny. I need to remove it. I told them that to only put it on for 1 week, but I guess they like left it on.
I've been listening for north of 1 week, so it's been on.
Okay.
Yeah. The next one is not respecting boundaries or individuals' personal lives and situations.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
What company does that? Are they trying to make money? You can't
I
respect
know.
boundaries.
No.
People do not respect boundaries. Since I had my boundaries were like so like crossed that now that I am like low key a boss, I guess, because we have like a producer editor that we
Yeah.
work with. I try so hard to like set boundaries, and then like I still have them, but I have to like reinforce them with myself too.
Mhm.
Right.
Like I don't like my co-host Amanda loves to like do everything over text, and I'm like, we also text about our personal lives.
Yeah.
So we'll be texting about like la la la, we had so much fun out, and then it's like scheduling, and I'm like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I
Put
have
it
to
on email.
Yeah,
Right. That makes sense.
but I think
That means you're a good boss, though. That
Yeah.
means like at this point that you're still like taking that
I'm
and trying to apply it.
but it's like
Mhm.
hard, and I get why like people make mistakes, but I think the important thing is like reflecting on those mistakes and then changing, and also being receptive of like someone you do work with, because like our producer will very much be like, Isa, like you said you wanted to have these notes in by Tuesday, like
Yeah.
it's Friday. I'm like, you right.
Yeah, that's good,
that is how the
though.
calendar works. So,
Yeah.
that's a good
Yeah.
point.
And I think with podcasts, because it is literally our mini little business, it is really personal. You know, when you have somebody working for you or whatever you want to phrase that, and if they're not invested in the success of what you're doing, it feels really personal. And you're like, oh my God, if I
Yeah.
become that CEO that's like, fuck you, you get out unless you
Yeah.
follow me into the dark. So it's like,
I feel like I gotta watch out for
Totally.
that.
Yeah.
I get very serious sometimes.
Well,
She
it makes
does.
sense because like I feel like it's almost more personal, especially with like art, at least like entertainment. Like I know people are like podcasting isn't an art, but it's like you're making it from like your voice and your thoughts.
Right.
So it's like kind of art or entertainment vibes. And so it is deeply personal.
It is deeply personal. It's actually funny you say that. So I was on vacation recently and this girl was shit talking people that do podcasts. And she's like, oh, remember I told you about this girl on the safari?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And she was the worst person in the fucking world. If you're listening to this podcast, fuck you. So she was the worst
Nate was on
person.
her honeymoon too.
I was
Both
on my
her and
honeymoon
her
about to,
husband
like-
are podcast.
I was about to like fucking
Square
brawl with this
off.
girl.
Oh my God, push her off the thing and then have like the lions eat her.
For real. I thought about it. But anyway,
Allegedly.
she was like, are you guys, so she found out we were comics and she was like, are you guys like podcasters? That's like the easiest thing in the world. And I go, actually my day job is the easiest fucking thing in the world.
Yeah.
And I go, podcasting is very hard. And she was like, sorry. And I was like, well, think about it. I was like, we have to do the programming, the like editing. You have to put it out. You have to
Research.
cut the clips. You have to do the research. You have to find your audience. You have to
Yeah.
find advertisers. I was like, you're basically a little mini business. And I was like, and she was like, oh, sorry. And I was like, yeah, you're a fucking bitch. And she was like getting on
Yeah.
my nerves the rest of the trip.
Dude,
she was
people
such an asshole.
do not realize how much work it is. And it's like, sure, we're choosing to do it. Everyone's choosing to do everything. But it's like, don't knock it till you try it.
Totally.
It is hard. We're trying.
Yeah.
We're giving it our best shot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, anyway, that girl was a fucking bitch.
We don't like that
And that
girl.
was like a
What was her
little
name and social
aside.
security number? I'm just kidding.
Her name
Let's
is
dox her.
Elizabeth.
Yeah.
But that's all I
Classic.
know.
Elizabeth
yeah,
Holmes.
Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Her name was Elizabeth Holmes.
And
Wow.
like, I'm literally wearing a turtleneck right now.
Yeah,
on
you came
safari.
prepared. You were like cosplaying for this
We're-
podcast.
Also, all wearing black.
Because we're women in business.
Yeah, look at
Yes,
us.
in New York.
Yeah.
We're wearing the New
Let's
York City
go.
uniform right
Yeah.
now.
Mm-hmm.
The next one is seeking inappropriate loyalty to their leaders, blind allegiance. I think that I've seen a lot because people are fucking teachers' pets.
Oh, yeah.
Into their 40s, into their 50s, they are teachers' pets.
Yeah.
It's
They
really
want
sad.
they just want the thumbs up. What's killed me so much is watching, I mostly work with men, and watching these grown men like just need the kudos more than money. They're not, they do the most. And I'm like, are you getting paid more? And no. And it's not even like they're going up for a promotion or anything like that. I'm like, why?
That's so embarrassing and unattractive to me. It makes me want to be like 100% gay.
It's interesting because it's like, I understand in my role, like with sales, like you obviously do a shit ton in order to make more money for the company. There's a direct correlation in value, but it's like bullshit where it's like helping CKO run smoothly.
Yeah.
Who cares?
I don't know
I mean,
what CKO is, but it's
company
giving daddy
kickoff.
issues.
I have no idea what that
Yeah.
is either. What is that?
Company kickoff where it's like a
Oh,
week
right.
of like rah speeches.
Oh my God.
That's
yes.
cult vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had those at LinkedIn and they were like over the fucking top. They would have like
Yeah.
singers come in.
Rihanna will, like,
yeah,
come in
and you're
or
just like,
something. You're like,
okay.
why?
They're just throwing so much money at this. And I'm like, here's an idea. Put that money in my paycheck.
Can I get that money? What's up?
Dude, that reminds me of like moments where you ever like wake up and you're like, are we all just like making up work to work?
Yes.
Like we're all just like making work for ourselves so that we have something to do.
That's exactly what we're doing, to be honest. Yeah.
When I was little, one of my biggest fears is I kept thinking, like, you know how like they were talking a lot about overpopulation when
Yes.
we were younger? Now that's kind of the other way. I know. So I kept being
Wait,
like,
what? I don't remember. This is not
you
a
don't
big
remember
part
this?
of my
Did you
childhood.
get
Did
to
you think
Boston?
about people getting buried and running out of space?
Well, yes, but not as much, I think, as you might have. Just
It's a common fear in children with anxiety.
Oh, well, that was definitely me.
Wow.
But I was more worried. I was like, we're not going to have jobs. Like, we're going to run out of shit to do.
You were a corporate girly out of
For
the womb.
real. For real.
But I was like, what are we? So now, universal basic income. I think that's
Yeah.
what we should
Yeah.
When
And-
I heard about that, I was like, oh, that's a good
Yeah,
idea.
yeah.
That helps scratch my anxiety itch.
Yeah, and I think that's like why people need to have hobbies, and it's like important. If you do work for a corporation, like again, that's totally fine, but then like clock out mentally. So-
Exactly. Like you have to get to a healthy place with it. I think you and I are in a great place with our jobs right now because we're like, okay, 5 o'clock, bye.
Yeah, and
we
you
do a good
obviously-
job.
And you can tell you both have like a lot of energy. So you're applying it to the things that like you love because you like to stay busy. But imagine
Yeah.
if you were like applying all that energy just like back into your company without like
No.
getting paid for it.
Yeah. I
Fuck
think,
no,
and that's
can't do
one of the
that.
things, especially in sales, it's like, I know I'm doing a good job because my numbers can, reflect that or like what
Right.
I'm like doing in the workforce. And also I know that if I spend 100% of my time doing that, I will become a depressed person.
Yeah.
And then I will
Yeah.
do a terrible job. So I need to be able to go and balance myself by doing things I'm passionate about.
Speaking
flip side.
about boundaries, actually, Laura and I talk about this all the time because our bosses, in one way or another, have sort of insinuated they're like, well, if you need to take a step back from stand up for a little while for the, they've sort of said things like this
Right.
when our sales numbers haven't been great. And I'm like, no, it doesn't work like that. And I made this point at one point or another to people above me where I was like, if I had a baby, you guys would respect that. You would say, okay,
Yep.
Mae needs to shut down at 5 and go pick up her fucking baby from daycare.
Yeah.
But if I have to go and do a set at which, by the way, my sets aren't until like 8:00 at night anyway.
Yeah.
You know, who gives a shit?
I don't exist.
But
to
I'm
them.
like, if I have to go and do that, like that's the thing that I have to do. That's what I'm choosing to have as my outside of life world. So just
Yeah.
because it's not something that you value doesn't mean you can say
right.
that
It's
I
not
have to
totally-
step back on the thing that I value.
It's not the traditional life that you kind of envision for all of your employees.
Yeah, and the reason that they said something is because they're threatened by it. Because
Right.
it can turn into something more.
Yeah.
Whereas like a child, also, by the way, they're respecting it now, but like 10 years ago, they probably would have been like, oh, like Mae has a child,
That's a
so
good
she's not going to
point.
be able
Yeah.
to like give her all to the job.
So she's not getting promoted.
Yeah, whereas
or
like
whatever.
who cares? There's a 40-hour work week is like the regular amount of work week. You're
Yeah.
probably working a little bit more than that already. So it's like if you're leaving the office, you're leaving the office.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm like, not us,
story.
but yeah, we should be.
Having
If you're
children-
listening, Anna, yes, I do.
having children, that's definitely a cult, right?
oh, we
Yeah,
haven't
they
done like
just
everything.
had
We
one.
just
Did you?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
cult of did the cult,
Cult of
of
having a kid.
influencers.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
God.
listened to
Like,
that
whoa.
one. That one was fun. That was
Yeah,
really fun.
that's the one where like it's the moms who make their kids their job essentially, and their
That is
kids are their
so fucked
content.
It's like pageant moms.
Mm-hmm.
Well, people do that also with their pets. Like I feel like
Ooh, I would love to do that.
I know. right?
Yeah, but at least pets don't know.
Yeah, they don't know, and
Yeah.
they're never gonna grow
Or maybe
up.
they
and be
do,
like,
and they're
"Why
like, I'm famous.
Yeah.
They're
What
like,
if they're like walking around the block, like,
Mom, don't you have a reel to make?
this is totally, I don't know if this is true or not, but it feels like there's certain people that are really good at social media and go into shelters and are like, that cat has like some weird disease. Can I
Yeah.
have him? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
That's fucking weird.
Yeah, definitely. Because they want to blow up, Scoot Butt or whoever it is. You guys follow
Yeah.
Scoot Butt?
No.
he scoots on his butt.
Wait, but I did
Yeah.
follow.
Together.
What was the one that was like Bones Day or not
Oh,
Bones
yeah.
Day?
Oh
I
my
think
God,
he
I
was just super
literally-
old.
Is he
though.
still alive?
No, he died. I'm
died?
sorry to
The
break this
bones,
news
no
to you
bones.
live.
No, I got.
so
I was like
sad.
really sad for a day. When
It should
Yeah.
have been like a holiday or something.
I
it
know.
was for me.
It's like, guys, it's a
That
no
was-
bones day.
It was a no bones day. There was no more bones.
Aww.
If you don't know what we're talking about, there was a dog, and if it stood, it had bones, but didn't.
Because it was
Yeah,
so
bones.
old and sick that some days it was able to stand up and
Yeah,
walk,
so
and some
bad.
days it like wouldn't get up.
But-
And the idea was that when it was like standing up, that you would have to do something that day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was the
yeah.
day we collectively had to do shit.
Right.
And then when it laid down, you'd be like, we're not
We're
doing
not doing
anything
it.
today.
And then it died, and that's really a metaphor for
I know,
society.
I know. What a
Yep.
fun thing. I love things that just catch on like that. And everyone's like on board. Everyone's like, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Bones, no bones.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Bones, no bones.
Society is so weird.
It's
funny.
so
We're
weird.
so
Yeah.
cute.
Yeah.
We're adorable.
I know. The only thing that we had was in the 90s when every single parent was talking about the big dig.
What is that?
Do you know about this?
No.
So she grew up in Rhode Island. I grew up in Massachusetts, and every single parent throughout the entire 90s
Legally
and
required.
early 2000s, the only dinner table topic conversation was a construction project going on in Boston.
Oh,
called The
that's
Big Dig.
so
The
funny.
Big Dig. It went on for like 30 years.
Yeah, and
like an egregious
It
amount
was
of
crazy.
time.
A bunch of people died. It was
So
like
much
a
death,
crazy thing.
So much corruption. It was like a soap opera.
A lot of like
via-
mafia shit.
You guys should write a pilot
Yeah,
about the Big Dig.
about families in the
Like
90s.
two
and-
families in the 90s. That like
living-
it's like the politics between the families, and so like it starts off with that, but it's like obviously so much more.
Yeah, and like one family
That's
could
it.
be super conservative, the other one's really liberal. So the conservative one is like, we're like the tax paying and
Yeah,
da da
yeah,
da da,
yeah.
and then the liberal one's
They
worried about the deaths. Or
died,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Point is, everyone's pissed about it.
Oh yeah.
Also, the Big Dig, that's just like such a cool thing.
Yeah.
Name.
Well, my parents would agree.
Listen.
with you. They had thoughts.
Yeah, we had the same childhood, and it's centered around the big day. It's centered around a construction project.
And then
That's
in the car,
amazing.
just always listening to the local news talk about the big day. What the hell?
That's so funny.
Where'd you grow up, by the way?
I grew up in Northern Virginia. So
Oh,
I'm
okay.
originally from Columbia, like the country. Sometimes people think I'm talking
Yeah.
about South Carolina.
Yeah.
But I moved to America when I was 7, and I grew up in Fairfax, Virginia.
Okay.
And my parents have a small flower business that they run together.
What? Oh, that's.
Yeah.
Are you
I think
part
I've
of
heard
a
you talk about
rom-com?
this on
Like,
the
what's
pod.
I know,
up?
it's like Colombian family has a flower business. I'm like, oh, what a stereotype.
Yeah.
Immigrant family, small business.
Yeah.
But yeah, they talked about business like at every dinner.
Yeah.
So it was like, but it's one of those businesses because it's flowers, since it's like, I don't know what the word is, disposable, I guess, like
Yeah.
perishable.
Oh, right. Perishable.
They run on like a weekly basis because they like
That's
have
so
imported flowers
stressful.
on Sundays.
That is really
Yeah.
stressful. Wow. I should have hired you guys for my wedding.
You should
Yeah,
have.
I know.
Wholesale
I didn't know.
prices.
I didn't know you then. Fuck.
Second wedding.
Second
No,
wedding.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that was like the big joke all weekend. I feel like people were saying the second wedding all the
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
It was funny.
And people that didn't get invited, they were like, "It's all right. I'll catch your second wedding."
Yeah. It's
make
like
this
such a
one.
dumb joke.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
Everyone makes it.
Whatever.
I'm a sellout.
Yeah. But I mean, it's probably true. So, marriage also kind of a cult.
Yeah.
Marriage definitely
Yeah.
a cult.
For
Yeah.
sure.
And
For
we're
what-
gonna
why
like
is the
Also,
government
like a
involved?
vowel renewal wedding.
Yeah, we could have. Yeah, there you go. Our anniversary trip. We'll get a bunch of flowers from
Yeah.
your
Perfect.
from your
If
parents.
I ever get married, probably not.
Yeah.
We already have it all, so
Yeah. I do have a cat, and that's pretty fun.
yeah.
That is pretty fun. Okay, so I found this article on BuzzFeed. This is the last section. We're going to talk about the cultiest places that people have worked.
Ooh, interesting.
Okay, so we've already had a few anecdotes from ourselves, but these are strangers on the internet, all anonymous. So somebody says, I used to work at an amusement park, and that was the weirdest place ever. On my first day, I had to learn the work song, and it contained lines like work hard, clean up vomit, always smile all the time. We were given names so that we would call names to call everyone, and mine was Purple Unicorn. Still the weirdest place of all time.
What is that,
I'd
like,
say so.
The military?
I
That's
know.
so
Code Purple
crazy.
Unicorn.
That
Yeah.
reminds me of like the pilot episode of Succession, like the first episode where
Yeah.
they like where he cousin
Yes.
Greg is like in the suit and he throws up
Oh, fuck. I don't remember this.
out of the eye.
I
It
remember
comes
that
out of
one.
the eyes. And then also, yeah, it reminds me of. Did you watch Search Party?
Yes.
You know,
oh my
in,
God,
like,
what
I
a
don't
show.
remember what season, but the season where he goes to work at an amusement park and he falls in love with like the princess.
Oh my
The
God. Yes, the
boyfriend?
boyfriend. Yes, I remember this.
Yeah, and it
That was after they killed the guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he like loses
Spoiler.
his mind. Yeah, spoiler.
But yeah, it makes me feel like everyone who works at an amusement park, I don't know for sure, obviously, don't want to generalize, but like everyone kind of lives in this like la la land in their head.
Yeah. Well, I think that's safe to say. I don't think we
Yeah.
have to be that cautious. on that.
I think
I don't
that-
know how many
I
amusement
don't
park
want to insult anyone.
Yeah.
But that is for sure culty.
Yeah.
That was also for sure Disney, right?
Oh yeah, probably.
I mean, it has to be.
Yeah.
The weirdest place ever, all caps.
Purple Unicorn. I wonder what that's about.
Yeah. I also
Yeah.
feel like just smaller amusement parks probably are culty too because they're trying
yeah.
to become
Six Flags.
They're trying to fill Disney's shoes.
Yeah.
Like, we got you. We're coming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really weird. I also feel like, I mean, the Purple Unicorn, I feel like any sort of like screen names that you have when you're at work, that's very culty.
Yeah.
And then even just the concept of having titles. It's like this
Yeah.
person's above me because of some arbitrary, because they've been at the
hierarchy.
fucking company for a year longer. It's like, it's sort of like, it reminds me of Nexium when they had to wear those little weird sashes.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yes.
And so like, then you graduate to a gold sash and like, you know, you don't really do anything to earn these
As
things.
long as you're getting
It's
paid
weird.
money.
Yeah. And like having your title on like your door or your desk.
Right.
Yeah. Weird.
Yeah. Anyway.
Next.
All right, so amusement parks.
Next. Okay. This
amusement
one's just
parks
like a
are culty
sad
for
one
sure.
about people being bummed. All right, let's see. Okay, here we go. I worked for a large electronics big box retailer at
Best Buy.
corporate.
Yeah.
Costco.
Immediately.
They had a program called WOLF, aka Women of Leadership Forum, and you had to be invited to join this group by a current member. This was a true
What?
pack mentality group. Members were given a Tiffany bracelet, it's not bad, when they were initiated and wore it to symbolize their membership in this elite group.
I hate that shit.
Yeah.
So much.
Yeah.
Don't get me fucking, every time they do these like, women are leaders too group. I'm like,
Yes.
why were you implying we weren't?
Yeah. And
Correct.
also,
What?
why is it the women's responsibility to foster that
Right.
community. Like
And-
then the women have to tap the other women. It's
And then-
like it's the company's responsibility.
Well,
And then
this
also-
well, go ahead.
Why are they giving them Tiffany's bracelets? What if
Yeah.
they don't like it?
And
Yeah.
they're
Always-
out of fashion. Give
And they're
them
out
a
of
Cartier
fashion.
one.
Yeah, and they probably are like ingrained so they can't resell them.
It's bullshit because they make all these broad assumptions about what ladies might like. They're always like, we're going to do a stitching class.
Yeah.
Fuck off. I have zero interest in that. I don't
Yeah, have you
care.
heard of Top Golf? We like that stuff too, okay? Mozzarella sticks.
Top Golf is fun.
Top Golf
Yeah.
is pretty fun, actually.
Wait, your guys'
a good
heads are gonna
place.
fucking explode. Okay, the next sentence: to accelerate leadership in women. Yes, this is true. They started recruiting alpha males to help mentor the women.
No.
Oh, no.
Yep,
I'm upset.
yep.
This
They
is my upset face.
they spent a huge amount of money on things like cruises to celebrate whenever they were celebrating. During these celebrations, some alphas mentored these women by encouraging them to make out in front of them. Gave them a bunch of drinks, and you can imagine the rest.
Did they go to court?
So
Yeah.
one of
They
these
go to-
alphas
did the le-
was a known sexual harasser, and he was going on to mentor women. But I don't know if they went to court. Maybe
Why are they mentoring women?
Okay, so yeah, that is literally just like
Nexium.
Nexium and also corruption and also a fraternity all in one.
Yeah.
Really quick though, can you imagine being that alpha dude and just being like, "This is the fucking hottest thing
Yeah.
that's genuinely ever
they're all
happened
like,
to me."
These girls are just listening to whatever the fuck I
They
say.
think they want to be like me, so
That
Well,
is so
tell them to make out with
embarrassing.
each other.
God, that's hilarious. One of the best things about my current company is that our diversity problem is that we have no men. And
Oh,
every
that's so
man,
nice.
every guy that we do hire gets fired because they fucking stink at the job. So
there you go.
anyway,
Ugh, men can't
mostly-
do anything right.
I guess not. All right. So this next one, I spent 2 weeks at a marketing firm that was really an MLM, run by a 25-year-old dude in recycled power suits every morning.
That's a red flag,
Recycled?
by the way.
Yeah, that's what it says.
If your CEO's in their 20s, red flag.
Red flag
Yes,
for sure.
definitely
Red
a
flag.
red flag. Every morning at 8 a.m., we would gather around in a circle in a freezing cold room and loudly chant to start off the day. I should have left the first morning. Yes, you should have.
Yeah. What?
Chant.
What?
ch-
Can you
and-
imagine day one of that?
And they like did it in a freezing cold room.
Fucking
Could they not
why?
afford heat?
I guess not. MLMs are very funny to me. We did an episode on MLMs, as you probably would guess, and it was like I wanted to be careful because I know that they prey on like people that are vulnerable, but I was like, man, like there's information out there now that you really got to do your due
should know.
diligence.
I definitely am on your side about this one. Like when we did our episode on MLMs, Amanda was like very empathetic because she obviously knows all that goes into it, and it's so
Yeah.
true. Like, but on my like blind side, I'm like, how could you be so dumb?
right.
But obviously, like,
Google
there's
it.
a lot more to the story.
Yeah.
I don't want anyone who did it to feel because anyone can get tricked, but I'm like, it was leggings.
yeah. If there is a documentary about the place that you work, leave.
Yes.
And those people, they're still around. LuLaRoe's still around.
Yeah.
And there's a whole ass documentary and people are still joining.
Yeah.
But I have to admit, like, also these people are coming from such different walks of life than where we're at, you know, like their community, like a lot.
It's so true.
They've brought in the cool girls who probably are making money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the cool girls in their fucking Bible study
Yeah.
have
And-
been able to recruit the entire Bible study.
Yeah.
So they're upline.
And the sad thing is that like sometimes these people aren't necessarily like looking for money, they're looking for community. So they're able
Exactly.
to convince themselves that like it's okay, it's like just an investment for now and I'll make the money back. When it gets sad is when they do end up being in these MLMs for years and then they're like $20,000 in debt
Yeah.
and all of a sudden it's not just like a little side project, it's like a dude, you can't pay for your kid's college.
Yeah, and they also do a lot of recruitment into those religious groups where it
Yeah.
becomes kind of not directly tied, but it's definitely in that group of like Mormons get targeted a shit
yeah.
ton by
Yeah.
these, and they're already a group that's very much like do this. It might not make 100% sense out the gate, but it's like just part of our tradition.
Actually, Real
Yeah.
Housewives of Salt Lake City, I famously bring up Real Housewives constantly on this
Yeah.
podcast.
It's like this is half of a Bravo podcast.
Yeah.
I watch no Bravo. I'm always like, who is that?
Yeah.
But what's her name? Something Rose. What the fuck is Whitney Rose's husband recently got fired from his job that was an MLM. I guess.
Oh, they all their husbands like get fired or go to jail or die or something.
Yeah.
I have to sneeze. Sorry.
All right, cool. Next one. I worked for a video game company. When you join, you have a 2-week course called denubification.
That's funny, at least.
That is funny.
It's not bad. And they make you wear a stupid lime green hat, and then they hit you with all this cool flashy shit so you drink the Kool-Aid. Their manifesto is super broy, and everyone quotes stupid stuff for it, like stay humble, stay hungry, and default to trust to cover up the toxic fraternity environment.
That's so funny to me because I could totally see that being like so fun at first in like a satirical way because you're like, you just so intense.
Right.
Described it. I'm like, that sounds like
I'll
sign
like
up.
A green hat is so funny. Like it's like
I'm
it's
denubifying. I'm busy.
Yeah. But then like if it continues to go on, that is toxic behavior.
It's actually kind of helpful to have something signifying that you're new. You're like, hey, I need help. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing with my clients.
For Google, the people that are new there are called nooglers. Isn't that funny?
Oh, that's cute.
That is so funny.
They're so sweet.
Do they still do the thing? I remember hearing this about Google that like the bottom 10% of their performers were just fired every year.
I don't think so, but
okay.
no,
I know
do
that
think
Meta fires if like you don't make a certain amount of money for
Meta's
them.
nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've also just announced another round of layoffs.
Yeah.
Oh,
they're
wow.
fucking crazy.
Wait, have you seen this guy? I have to show you this fucking TikTok.
Meta's also, while you're bringing that up, they just completely pivoted off of their virtual reality, like in the
that was
metaverse
weird
stuff.
as hell.
Yeah, Mark Zuckerberg got like a wild hair up his ass for a little bit.
Yeah,
Changed the entire
obviously.
name of the company.
because but the virtual reality thing was so stupid.
Everyone
Well,
knew
and
that.
it happened right around the time of the court hearings. Remember this? When there was like all these court
Oh,
hearings.
yes. The Facebook files.
Yeah, the Facebook
we
files.
did this. The Wall Street Journal did this really, really good series of articles on research they'd done on social media, Facebook specifically's impact around the globe. And it was like horrible for kids, obviously, and really taking advantage of people in other countries because they had no content moderation. So it was like the fucking cartel was using it to like spread like beheadings and stuff. It was
Right.
Oh
nuts.
my god! So they were probably
Like
just trying to
ISIS.
get ahead of it and like make other news bigger.
That's what people
Yeah,
were maybe
that's what
thinking.
I'm
And then
surmising.
changing the name of the company at the same time.
It's weird.
Right.
Also, the cult of San Francisco and Silicon Valley is insane to me because all my friends who like work in tech are calling it Meta, and I'm like, it's Facebook. I'm not
Yes,
I'm not
correct.
changing it. In my head, it's Facebook.
Yeah.
But I have to show you this video because it's
5 of my unemployment,
him.
and I'm a little bit nervous right now. I'm down to my last $700,000. Basically living 17K to 17K severance paycheck. I don't know what I'm gonna do once it runs out. I calculated it. At this rate, I only have 12 years to live at my current living expense rate. I don't know what I'm gonna do 12 years from now. I'm really nervous. I hope I can find a job. I'm trying to like relax and just focus on my
That's so
passions.
funny.
But I realized I don't have any passions. Is hike and rock climb.
everybody
so I'm
in
trying
the
to
Bay.
figure
I
out
love
my
you guys.
passions and then enjoy those.
it's
But
so
in
But
the
funny.
meantime,
they
I'm probably
completely
just going to
outsourced
live
their
life
whole personality to be hiking.
Yeah,
Totally.
And also,
Whoa,
I
you like to
feel
walk quietly?
Yeah, and they shit on other people for like wanting nice things like purses, and it's like your backpack was $3,000.
Correct. Your
That's-
Yeti cooler.
Your
Yeah.
outside purse, okay?
Yeah.
It's an outside purse.
Yeah,
So I don't want to hear it.
but the layoffs are crazy because it's like I was mentioning, I go skiing every year with a couple of friends that like all work in tech, and so
Yeah.
like half of them are like at Meta and half of them are like Amazon and Microsoft, and some of them were like working on that Bing thing.
Mm-hmm.
And my friend at Meta was like,
We're a big
I'm
household
just-
now.
yeah. And my friend at Meta was like, I'm just like gonna board every day because if I get laid off, like I'm good for like the next 6 months.
Yeah.
Like their
Damn.
severance is so good that he was like, there's nothing I can do to like not get laid off. So he was like, I'm just gonna like take a vacation.
Why the fuck not? Good for him.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah,
for him.
I agree with that.
Enjoy.
And Meta, aka Facebook, gives their employees $3,000 like winter sports
No way.
like money.
See,
Isn't
it's stuff like that
crazy?
that keeps you at the company, and it's just $3,000. Like you could probably get that in a
Yeah,
just
he
so-
skied 60 days this year.
Did you see the Business Insider article that just came out where Facebook had actually hired a bunch of people who were not doing any work literally at all. Like their job was to not do work. The reason they hired them was so they couldn't be hired by other companies.
What?
I'm dead serious.
That's
this is
like
actually
the gentrification thing you were mentioning, but with
Yeah.
work.
This is warehousing, but people.
Yeah.
Whoa. If you listen to our last episode, you'll get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a real thing. So it just came out. They announced all these layoffs, so the news kind of got buried a little bit. I think if they had released this at a different time, we would have been talking about it a lot more. And I'm now at the extent of my knowledge on it. But I do need to go back and look more at it.
There is so much information out there that we are not listening to.
That's part of the reason I wanted to do this podcast in the first place. Is I was like, are you fucking kidding me? First of all, that's the best job I've ever heard of.
Yeah.
Why did I not get this job? I'm stupid.
Totally.
I could have been not doing like
How long did they keep the job for? Do
like
you
a
know?
while.
That's sick. How do we get to be one of these people?
Yeah.
Business Insider's blowing up their spot.
Dude,
So,
I literally,
get
like-
out of here.
I mentor this little girl and she's a junior. I started mentoring her when she was like in middle school and she's a junior now and she doesn't know what she wants to do with her life. And I sat her down and I was like, listen to me. I was like, there are jobs out there that are so easy.
Yep.
Yeah.
That you don't have to do anything. And I was like, if you don't have a passion, that's okay.
Yeah.
Find the easiest job that pays the most money. Because I was like,
Yeah.
nobody tells people this thing.
Yeah.
People
like-
think they want to have to do their job for like what they actually are passionate about.
Exactly.
Don't.
No.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Find the easiest one
Sell
that pays
out,
the most.
but like
And then do
for
your
a
shit.
lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
then do your other stuff on the side.
I think
Correct.
a
That's what we
way
do.
better way of looking at it is what don't I want to do? Like what will make
Yeah.
me unhappy?
Yes.
And it might be sales. It might be being an engineer. I used to think I wanted to be an engineer.
Oh my
Turns
God.
out I would have
Wow.
been so upset.
Yeah.
The whole
that would
time.
have sucked.
Dude,
Yeah.
I took like one computer science class and I literally ended up making my final project on Illustrator and exporting it as a CCS. And then I just changed a couple numbers so that when you hovered over it, it would expand.
That's
Wow.
That is actually pretty smart.
I'm like,
That's
damn,
actually-
girl, quit bragging.
All right. She aced the class.
A minus, not gonna lie. But the whole semester when we had little quizzes and shit, I
You're
was
like-
shitting my pants.
Yeah.
so funny.
No, I get so frustrated by technology, and I'm only 32 years of age, so I don't know what the fuck my problem is, but I like seriously get so fucking frustrated.
Yeah.
Someone's like, zoom in on this Word document. I'm like, don't ask me to fucking
Yeah.
Can you imagine if the
do
metaverse
sorcery.
like actually happened and we had to have like real meetings in the
No.
metaverse and explain to like not to pick on
No.
boomers, but boomers on how to get in?
Yeah.
I can't get them to get into Zoom.
Yeah.
Oh
or
my
like,
God.
don't get me started with Microsoft Teams. Dude.
Oh,
The worst
When someone
one.
sends me a link with that shit, I'm like, no, I don't want to download the fucking app.
Decline.
yeah, terrible,
Decline.
terrible.
Call
Total
myself.
decline.
Yeah.
Wait, so there's more about this video
Ooh.
game place. So they convince you that the fun perks are worth staying 24/7. That's nothing new. There's also something called feedback culture, aka it's totally cool to be super awful to people and call it feedback.
Yes. Yes. Radical transparency.
Wait,
Yeah.
hold on. Where did I?
Bridgewater
oh my God, Netflix. I interviewed for a job at Netflix, and first of all, 1,000 interview rounds.
What?
Yeah,
Literally,
they
they're
do.
so intense, and they do that thing where like. Even as I was interviewing, the guy was like, so we actually do this thing where like we give immediate feedback and and he gave me feedback during my interview.
Holy shit! I would be like, I can't handle it here. This is too much.
Yeah. I didn't
Yeah.
get the job, but ultimately that was for the best because
That's for
it
the
was
best.
for an assistant to the stand-up comedy department head. So I was like, then I wouldn't have been seen as like the
Yeah.
talent. and
Yes,
I'm
No,
like,
you're so
That
right.
actually
Ended up
definitely
working
works
so
out.
much.
It
What an
sounds
interesting
like-
job it would have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like something that would progress your stand-up career, but jobs like that, in my opinion, hold you down because
Exactly.
mentally they're like, that's the assistant.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they don't want their assistants to like be creatives.
Right.
Or
No, they
really,
want you
they
to
don't
make
want
money.
anyone at the company to be a creative.
Okay, one last thing on this particular lady's testimony. She says, as a woman, it was even worse because men had whole Slack channels dedicated to rating the attractiveness of female colleagues.
This is Blizzard.
Is it?
I'm almost positive this is Blizzard. Remember how we did that whole World of Warcraft episode?
Yes.
World of Warcraft's Blizzard, right?
I
Almost-
don't know, but I can
It was a
Google it.
while ago that we did.
I can Google it.
Come on.
Yeah.
Ladies.
Another company.
Laura's like very into video games. That's another really funny thing. Like she brings up video games in every podcast. I bring up
Okay,
Real Housewives.
guys, girl.
Yeah.
I don't bring
You
it up.
watching The
I
Last
always,
of Us?
Yeah.
No, I tried to play that video game. It was too scary.
Oh,
really?
really?
Scary.
But are you watching the show?
No, it's too scary.
Oh, it gets better.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I've heard it's fantastic.
I
It's
will
really
say,
good.
I will
am
say
simply-
now that Last of Us is a cult because when I was recommended it, I was like, Watched the pilot. I was like, this fucking sucks. Watched the next episode. I was like, this fucking sucks. And everyone was like, the third episode's amazing. And I was like, okay, it was okay. I'm like, that episode's okay. But then you kind of like fall in love with the characters. So
Yeah.
I've
that's
heard
why.
great things, but I'm a pussy. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. I think my favorite episode, spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't watched it, but I'm sure everybody
Skip.
has, was the guy from Parks and Rec and the other
The
guy.
third episode.
Yeah. That
Yeah,
was
the
a good
gay
one.
one.
I liked
Yeah.
that one. A lot of
Yeah.
interpersonal stuff, Laura. You got to give it a shot.
I can't. I'm too
honestly,
scared.
Genuinely, the third one is sort of an isolated thing. Like, I feel like
It was. It wasn't in the video game.
Yeah, it doesn't really have anything to do with the other, like the main characters either. It sort of does, but like not really. So like you can kind of learn about this little. It's like an hour-long little movie.
You could honestly watch the
Yeah.
third
Just
episode,
that episode by
without
itself.
yeah.
without any
Maybe I'll do that.
context.
Maybe I'll do
You
and
try
then
it.
if you like it, dive into the rest.
and report back.
Yeah.
To walk away every time there's a zombie.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, so
The
this
zombies are scary.
last one, I don't know why I chose to end on this one because it's definitely the most bummer one. So we'll have to.
We can make anything.
Yeah. So
Okay, here we go. Let's
this-
do it.
This one is particularly bummery to me because it starts with I was raised in a cult that she escaped from. So that sucks that somebody who's raised in an actual cult then goes to
Ugh.
work and is like, wait a minute, what?
No.
Yeah.
So she goes, I feel like I have a leg to stand on when I noticed my job decades later felt like a cult. I worked for a prominent figure in wildlife conservation who demanded blind loyalty from staff. Wildlife jobs are highly competitive, so people are primed to go pretty far against their morals to stay relevant in the field. She said, my boss would demand we do things that were very harmful to the animals. Why?
Is this a lady from Tiger King?
I know, right? And to see how committed we were also manipulated into throwing each other under the bus to maintain favoritism. There was an us versus them mentality whenever anyone else in the wildlife conservation field was the enemy, did things wrong, and should be eliminated rather than like the more obvious route of collaborating to reach common goals. We were mercifully bullied by the boss and his wife. What is she talking about? I'm gonna need to know this. I need to like email this lady.
Yeah.
Is this
It might be
is
a
this
Tiger
Tiger
King.
It
King?
might
I
be.
swear to God.
Sexually harassed and deeply discriminated against for being women. It was not in my home country, and I didn't have anywhere to go back home. So no, it's not, because it says it took me years to be able to come back to the U.S., so it had to be something overseas. But yeah, I mean, I feel like in general, this is such a bummer situation, but I feel like people that work with animals, as a sweeping generalization, are kind of fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Any of those nonprofit groups where
Like,
they're
thank
Yeah.
God for them, but like,
well,
Yeah.
anytime they're doing something that's like from a place of being a good person, it's so easy to take advantage of those employees.
it is.
Because they
yeah.
have like this like spirit of wanting to do right.
Exactly.
And they already are there not making fucking any money because
Yeah.
they're trying to really
It's
believe
like
in this
nonprofits.
cause.
It's like you doing it for the mission. You're doing
Yeah.
it for the greater good. And that's such culty language of being like, we have a mission. We have the greater good. It's like we're like for the higher power. And so like it's just easy to get manipulated.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Wait, do you think that it was the Tiger King lady?
No, because she said it was outside the U.S., so it
Oh.
couldn't have been.
Damn.
Yeah.
It was the knockoff Tiger
Nice.
King.
Yeah.
Lion King,
What's
whatever.
your favorite cult?
Ooh. I always say the cult of stand-up comedy because
Oh,
it's
Yeah.
it is such a cult, like
It
that
is.
we are in.
Very toxic community as well.
Yeah, and you
There's
know,
great people, but then there's terrible people.
Yeah, and you know how like sometimes you like will do stand-up for a couple weeks in a row, like really grind, like you're doing it like almost every day, and then you're like, I need a break, and so then you like need to take a break for like emotional and mental health reasons, and then when you're taking that break, you feel like you're falling behind.
Yes, and it's such a lie. It's such a lie we
Yeah.
tell ourselves, because it's like if you're doing stand up every single fucking day and it starts to feel like a chore, you're not going to be funny, you're not going to be present. It's going to make your writing suffer. But then there is this mentality that we've all heard before that's like, you got to grind and you got to do these horrible shows. I'm like, do I
Yeah.
know? Or do I need to like take a beat and go get my fucking nails done and a massage
Yeah.
tonight, and then tomorrow I'll be like really excited to do the show that I have.
Yeah, and it's like diminishing returns. It's like that's how I feel when
That's a big part of it, I think.
It's like when I have been doing grinding, and then like my set that I know works is not doing well. I'm like, what am I getting out of this? I'm not getting like validation, which is like what I need to write new material.
Right.
So there's no point in this. Like there's no worse feeling than like your tight 5 that is like tight and works. Bombs.
Audience is like, get out of here.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, I've just been working on this for 4 years.
Yeah, I didn't think it was funny
Guess I'll go
either.
fucking kill myself.
You're totally right.
Well, also, I think you could tell a big difference in stand-ups that like they are so like married to the grind lifestyle, and then a lot of their jokes have to do with inside baseball stuff, and they're literally like talking about stuff that's funny to other comics on stage. And I'm like, go out and have dinner with your friends.
Yes.
Get some
Real life
experiences that these people can fucking relate to.
Yeah, like that's why like this is gonna sound so annoying. No, I'm not gonna say it.
Don't say it.
I was just gonna say, like, ever since I went full time on the podcast, I like crave office culture.
Oh god.
Because
I'm like, yeah, you should redact. No,
Yeah, we'll say redacted.
but just like once a week, you know what I mean? Like, I just
Yeah.
want to go into the office and be like, Mondays, am I right?
Yeah.
I'm out of here, everybody. I'll see you next week.
Yeah.
I'll be here all week.
Yeah, and then like and then interact with like one person who's like normal, because right now the only people I interact with are like my co-host
Yeah.
and other
Makes
comics.
sense.
But I
Yeah.
feel like the best material I wrote, or the best material I write, is when I have like a very normal week and I hang
Yeah.
out with like my normal friends.
Right.
Well, even on this podcast, like when we're talking about our lives, like it's so much better when one of us has gone and done something normal over the weekend. You can come back and discuss that versus just being like, well, I did 3 sets and they went well, and then I worked on this, and then I did a podcast, and then I that's it.
Yeah,
okay. And then I went to my work.
Yeah, so the cult of stand-up comedy, that's a good one. I would say that my favorite cult is Teal Swans, because I'm fascinated
What is
by that
that?
story. So Teal Swan is this like motivational speaker, but she, or whatever you would
Can we
want
do
to
an
call
episode
her.
on her?
Yeah,
We
she's a
could-
cult. We did an episode on her. I think we might have had to
She's-
take it down. Redact that.
No,
Did
because I
it's
saw
up?
it on Spotify.
Oh, okay, cool.
It's
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
yeah, it's really freaky. It's really not good at all. She's like
YouTuber.
she's
creepy.
a YouTuber. She's a massive
Oh.
big following, but she's sort of is encouraging of like self-harm in a serious way.
Yeah, there is
Um,
another really deep dive podcast about her. Have you
Okay.
heard about it? Hold on.
Oh,
I-
like one of those like multi episodes on one topic.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
it's
must
by-
have listened to it because I listen to like every Teal Swan anything that comes out because it's the craziest story.
Why
and
have
it
we
just
not
keeps-
talked
Jennings
about her?
Brown hosted it. So look
Okay.
up Jennings Brown Teal Swan.
Okay, I'll
She
check
did a
it
deep
out.
And we'll
dive.
redo that
Yeah.
podcast here.
Yeah.
What's your favorite cult, Laura?
I want to be invited into a cult. Can I be honest? I've never been
Yeah?
invited into one.
Aw.
I know.
What about stand up though?
Oh, wait, I would like yes, but like
Yeah.
an official. I want to be in an official cult. I think
Well,
my
you were religious. You were religious when you were younger, so
like
I feel like you would have knocked it out of the park in the WeWork cult.
I would have crushed.
yeah, you would
Yeah.
have
That'd
crushed.
been pretty good. I guess I work in tech, so that's kind of my favorite
That's kind of a
cult.
cult.
Yeah.
My favorite
Oh,
cult.
I know. You did like a sport.
Oh yeah, swimming.
That is college sports are 100% a cult.
Yeah, that's definitely a cult.
I feel like
Yes.
that cult had its hooks in you for the longest time too, because you had like trauma from said
Yeah.
cult.
So much.
Do you know
I mean-
Lydia Keating? She did rowing in college. And so she like came on our podcast to talk about the cult of marathon running, because then she got into that. But
Oh,
like
interesting.
you should have her. She has a lot of followers. You should have her on the podcast to talk about
Perfect.
swimming businesses.
Swimming.
Yeah.
The NCAA. I guess.
Or like honestly, the Olympics as a cult.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
that whole why people like dedicate their entire lives for like nothing.
Yeah.
For no
Yeah.
fucking reason.
Yeah.
Unless you're
no-
like Michael Phelps, it doesn't.
There's
really
literally, like,
come
8
out in a
people
monetary.
for the
eight people
glory,
that are coming
dude.
out.
And I tell you, like, I live for the glory. So I
Eh,
would.
but
Yeah.
So what we're
You're
actually
running a
getting
marathon, for Christ's sakes.
Most people are really living for the glory.
Yeah.
The VPs at those stupid banks, they're like, I want to be a VP because it's a pride thing.
Yeah.
It's ego. It's pride.
For sure.
And
Yeah.
I get it. And I'd like to be invited into an official cult.
Me too.
So
I
please
want-
send me over that invitation.
Invite her and give me a trophy.
Yeah.
Like, I want to hold
I
something.
want money.
Oh, that's a good-
Thanks.
Money's a cult too.
We're all just saying what we
Venmo
want.
us, please. Thank you. And write us 5 stars if you
5
don't
stars,
mind.
3 friends. You know the drill.
Yeah. We always tell people to tell 3 friends.
Yeah.
We're trying to make this an MLM.
We always say no. Literally, that's what we were gonna start doing. We were gonna we did like an episode on like the cult of Apple products, and we were like, send this to a friend who has a Samsung.
Yeah.
Yeah, do that. Okay, on this episode, you're sending it to your 3 friends who have Samsung products. Green
Yeah.
text them.
Oh my
a link.
God.
Yeah.
to the pod.
And if you have 3 friends that have Samsung products, defriend them.
Yes.
'Cause
Remove
that's-
them from the chat.
Remove them from the
That's
chat.
very annoying.
5 stars.
You can find us at Risque Business News. You can email us at risquebusinessnews@gmail.com.
gmail.com.
I always forget our own fucking.
I know. I'm like, I think if it bounces back,
I
don't know what to tell you.
You can follow me for stand updates at Mae_Planert.
And me, Laura Sogar, LauraSogar.
And I'm Isa Medina. You can follow me on Instagram for stand-up comedy and my podcast at Isa Medina, ISAAMEDINAA. And again, the podcast is called Sounds Like a Cult.
And it's a really good one. So tune in and we'll see you guys next time. Thank you.
Bye.